Hey there, guys. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, there. Um, welcome. As usual. Like 5 of you here already. That's good. Saturday streams tend to be the busier ones. Not that, like, I get all that busy, to be honest. So, where do I begin? Well, first of all, is the music okay volume-wise? Is it too loud or anything like that? Or are we good? Are we solid? That's what I like to make sure. I don't want it playing over me the entire time. Confirmation, we're good? Here's bugging me. Anyway. Yeah, okay, I'll take the silence as it's fine. Yeah, okay, you guys can hear me. So let me see here. Oh, I posted the artist there, Khalil. Yeah, the link. I was gonna do it anyway, but there you go. Just somebody I stumbled across as usual. Channel with 80 subs, 17 views, and I was like, wow, this album they made is really cool ambient stuff. There's like a lot of really good ambient on YouTube that you have to basically, mess up your algorithm. And well, I consider it improving on my algo, but by basically subbing to like a ton of stuff that's weird and under like 1,000 subs, or under 10k subs usually. I got some bigger ones mixed in there, but most of my subscriptions are to like channels that are under 10k subs. Because it then starts feeding me like stuff like this, like weird albums that nobody's seen, or weird blogs and all kinds of stuff like that. And that's how I find a ton of really cool content creators that don't that it keeps me from getting like nothing in my algo but goddamn, like garbage ass video essays. Not good ones. I like good video essays, but there's a lot of trash. There's so much video essay trash. like, you know, like the people that put one out like every few days, like, and it's just a recap of a movie, or it's just some like really shit take, or it's a take that got like off somebody else and stole it, and then they kind of reworded it and now they put it on their channel, like that kind of stuff. Like that shit drives me crazy. I do not like it. But sometimes you come across like, and then they're using like either AI footage or stock footage throughout the entire video. Ugh, God, vomit. I hate it. My favorite, and I brought this up to, well, they brought it up and I agreed. My favorite like video essays are the ones that have like that person's like original drawings, even if they're stick figures, like even if they're like goofy looking pictures. I still like when they use pictures they drew throughout the video essay, like even like I said, it could be stick figures. Then I like stock footage. I cannot stand it. I don't know if you guys feel like that about it. But yep. Anyway, I put a poll up too that has to do with the question for today. Remember, if you answer it, it won't show me who answered what. So you basically remain fair, like anonymous to whatever you answer on there. So be as honest as you can. And I appreciate it. It just gives me a little bit of insight and stuff. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, do that. If you want niche stuff to show up on your algo, all you got to do is like any like under 10K channel that's remotely interesting, or even if it's not interesting, let's just say it looks weird, but it's kind of stupid, just sub to it. Just sub to a bunch of them within certain categories, and then your feed will improve significantly. And start unsubbing like really big channels that you sub to at some point, but you never watch the videos anyway. Unsub to all of those. Unsub to like those really big ones. It'll improve your recommends like a hell of a lot better. Because there's some stuff that's really cool, but like you can't really come up with the search term. Like, what search term am I gonna, like, what am I gonna look up for this? Like, right? Like, to find it and stuff. But it also affects your search term, like stuff. But anyway, blah blah blah. Okay. So today's topic is status. I want to talk about it. Social status, more specifically, not like your health status or your employment status, though that could be associated. Why is that hair straying? Whatever. So yeah, it's god damn. Some days I think I want to cut my hair, but I don't know. It depends. It makes my neck feel better, so I don't want to cut it. Anyway, so everything that has to do within like social status when it comes to the workplace, school, if you're younger, college, professional careers, in your family, the social status, your social credit score, and the various types of communities or public circles that you inhabit or take part in, which is probably not that many. If you're a schizoid, it's probably a handful. Like for most, I think it's probably just like either it's like work, school, and immediate family. I doubt they have like a big plethora of friends. That's another hierarchy and a status hierarchy that kind of gets created. Like when there's a group of like a few friends, there's the friend that everyone thinks is like has the coolest job or is the coolest person, so on. I don't really concern myself with that, but that's a thing I've heard people say, or so on and so forth, right? So among any kind of like social communion, there's always this sort of deal, and I want to know what schizoids think about it, right? I have my own take. Obviously, I've never been a big fan of that sort of stuff. I've like, if let's just say like earliest forms, like just a group of friends or whatever, I generally hung out even in middle school around the either by myself or around the other people that were being sort of ignored. They cared. That was the only issue. I didn't really care that much. But yeah, usually like the school outcasts. I mean, I was technically one, but it was quieter there. Though sometimes you get the needy person, which is unfortunate, but nonetheless, there's not really a lot of climbing or games or social games occurring in that small circle of weirdos. Oftentimes, because the outcasts, the school outcasts, are many times neurodivergent people, right? Or the school nobodies, right? Essentially, like if you were in middle school, high school, and beyond. So that's kind of where I generally stayed, because there was a lot less of that kind of stuff. When I would try to get into groups of, like, I guess regular people or whatever, the expectations came, the how, like, your friendship status and things like that. There was like a lot of weird weights and measures that, like, they automatically sort of kept track of, that I didn't, and I didn't want to, and when I attempted to, I would get like too burnt out and too just bothered by it, and because no reward, the classic schizoid situation where if you participate in a lot of these things that a lot of regular people do, you get no reward, and so you're just like, why am I doing this? It just sucks. In any case, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so as I got older, obviously I got into the workforce. I went to school, college, graduate school, whatever, and there was a lot of that kind of stuff happening there. My professors were doing stuff like that to each other. I was cool with some of the professors, and so because of their subject matter and their, when I'd be able to like discuss with them after class the stuff I liked, which was history, and then, but I would hear them complain about sort of like their position in this kind of like feeding. What do they call it? A picking order. Sorry, pecking order type stuff. And a lot of like weird kind of gossipy stuff. A lot of resentment about people being able to get to a certain position because they were friends with this person, and they tried to be friends with them, but like they weren't having it, and or they don't like the person that you have to be nice to climb, and so then they feel like they stunted their ability to climb in their profession, like all this sort of stuff, right? I've heard it from everything from, like I said, professors to managers to neighbors to groups of people I hung out with that like play video games, because I like playing fighting games and stuff, and a lot of that stuff happened. Well, a lot of that stuff wasn't online when I first started, or when I was playing like high school, and a little bit beyond that. You didn't have the cool netcode action that you have now for a lot of fighting games, that kind of shit. And so like it's something I always observed, something I always like detested, but also something I understood that was a requirement, something that I had to get decent at. So thus I had to improve my charisma score. And I did significantly in my 20s, because I just kind of realized like, oh, well, this isn't going to work. And so on and so forth. Obviously I had my first child, so I had to kind of play ball. Thus the masking got stronger and everything. And you essentially mask not only to be left alone, but sometimes to climb some of these barriers, climb over some of these barriers to entry being like, getting the better paying hourly position, or getting the better, the less, strenuous work or thing you don't want to do the most, right? You had to sort of like ingratiate yourself with like the people above you, so that they, in their mind, your status like goes up, your friendship status, your competency status, and all this sort of stuff, right? Like that even if like it's so weird. One of the strangest things is to me is that like, because if somebody like likes you, if you get somebody to like you, they start perceiving you as more competent, even if you're not. So that's very, very clear. It happens all the time. Like, Joe and Jimmy, but if the boss likes Jimmy, and even though Jimmy's probably slightly performing less than Joe, he's going to view Jimmy as more competent, right? He's going to view Jimmy's excuses in a better light. because he likes Jimmy. He's a likable guy. He has similar drives as me, and so thus he must be more competent because I'm competent, and so on and so forth. So it was stuff that I constantly had to sort of like weigh and deal with, because when you're not really getting anything out of the social interactions, you get bored, and so you end up spending more time thinking about the social interactions themselves and how they function than being there with them as it's occurring. The only time I would get lost in social situations when the topics of interest would come up, then the old ADHD would kick in and be like, "Yes, talk special interest. This is awesome." And then, but yeah, I'm not gonna go over that again. But point is, like, if it wasn't something like that, I was basically just thinking about the person and how they speak and what they're concerned of, like really just all the time, and then asking questions in my head about it, and so on and so forth, right? As I was being like charismatic or whatever, or funny or whatever it was. Humor was always my thing that helped me climb within like certain things. So being witty, I guess, or coming up with funnies, even understanding that person's sense of humor and then kind of playing to it. Or if they say something that about something they like or don't like, throwing some more, like throwing like a little extra in there to make their point seem stronger, even though when they said it they didn't make it a very good point, but you give them some arguments or something, so they think, oh yeah, that's what I think, even if maybe they didn't really think that, and then you're like, yeah, right, and then yeah, so on. Yeah, I'm rambling. This is unfortunately, because I just ramble like incoherently, and it's kind of just ad lib. I don't I don't plan much of it. There's a lot of yapping. I do a lot of yapping. If you don't like yapping, I'm sorry. It's kind of just what I do. Unfortunately, not everything I say is good or useful. But yeah, that's been my experience with things of that nature. My experience with people that are status seeking and really obvious about it, or really vocal about it, meaning like, oh, I want to impress the boss. Oh, I want this person to think, I want this girl to think that I'm this and I'm that, or I want this guy to think that I'm not this and not that, or whatever. And so there's like a lot of weird games. There's a ton of this too that I had to grow to understand, because I had a lot of female, I guess, people around me. They weren't necessarily a lot of friends or anything like that, for obvious reasons. And so I had to kind of like learn about some of the more, I guess, female-centric status hierarchy stuff, friendship stuff, weird kind of like back and forths about like who said what to who and when, and who's my real friend and who's not, because real friends do this and real friends don't do that. I know you hate, no, you love yapping. That's all you do, Shadow. Yapping's your favorite. I'm gonna call you Yamper. It's all the yapping you do, like Yamper. Yapper. Yamper, Yamper, Yapper. Yapper, Yamper. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, all that sort of stuff. Like, I had to pay close attention to it, because I had to navigate it, because earlier in life I would get a lot in trouble, a lot, with my mom, with my dad, with my siblings, with teachers, with everyone and anything I interacted with. When I was a kid, it would get me in trouble, because I was doing a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to, speech-wise. And so I had to learn. I had to learn and get good at it. Luckily now, I don't have to really cater to too many people anymore. That I have to sort of use these kind of tactics and such to get around, because now I'm working remotely and I love it. And a bunch of the people that work there are a bunch of weirdos, and they're easy to manage, or a bunch of at least introverts, which are a lot easier to work with, even if they're not schizoids or even neurodivergent. It's just easier in many ways. And also, obviously I do this and I'm on the server, so most of the people that I consider friends now, and they're friends, close friends is like a newer thing in the last few years for me. But those people, I don't have to worry about doing much of that either. I don't have to worry about getting on everyone's good side. I guess that's a good way to put it. For practical reasons, or just practical reasons. Right. So life's been better that way, and nor do I want to return to a life in which I have to sort of do that or would do that. That's just unhealthy. It did a lot of damage to me. Okay, so that's my experience. If you have any questions about that experience, if you want specifics, if you want to ask me, oh, Angst, have you experienced this? A, not the topic. You have a video about overcoming daydreaming or something related? Not the topic? Well, I mean, that's not what I'm talking about today. Are you asking me like why I'm not, or that I should be? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're saying, Jay-Z. But you know, whatever. So the let me see here. So I asked this question to the Zoids on the Zoid Void, and I'm wondering how many people actually answered. I hope a handful, but I doubt it. I didn't actually look very much. I just wanted to get a few. Let's see here. The question I asked was, what are your thoughts on seeking higher status within society? Do you foresee rewards for yourself where you attain any? Or you to attain any? God, it's because I do it on my phone. Anyway, So, yeah, I just want to see what kind of rewards a schizoid that would seek status and why they would seek it. And is it similar to the reasons that regular people seek it? Is it because it makes them feel good? Is it because it's practical, but they're actually wish they didn't have to? Do they actively avoid it in their workplace or wherever they're at? That sort of thing. That's sort of kind of what I want to read, and hopefully I got some cool submissions. And if you haven't submitted already, oh, I just realized, if you haven't submitted already, you are more than welcome to still do so, as long as you do it within the next, if you're listening live, within the next 40 minutes or so that I don't miss it. Or you could just dump whatever you think about what I'm saying, or your thoughts on whatever I'm going over in chat, and I'll try to look over it. And I see that Shadow, you're in here?
I am.
Alright, I wonder if you're louder than me by like a whole lot or not. But I can never tell.
I'd have to go check.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so let me get into some of these. There we go. Neat.
Sounds about fine.
Sounds fine? Okay, cool. Good. That is good. Okay, so, how many what I got here? Oh, man. Okay, well, some of them have some meat on them. I got 1, 2, 3, only 4. That's unfortunate. But they have some meat on them.
Good number, though.
Oh, I know, you're a fan of the number 4. I keep forgetting that.
Really good number, actually.
Really good, yeah, the best number, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, if anybody wants to drop some answers to that in chat, do so. Or if you want to submit something, do so in the Dear Inks channel on the Zoid Void. Okay, first one here. Dear Angst, I think status is stupid and pointless, and I wish it didn't exist. The existence of a hierarchy of human value goes against my core principles. Unfortunately, it's still a real phenomenon that affects how people treat each other. I don't fully understand how status works, but I think that if I were to magically gain a higher status in society, I would face a lot less social ostracization and would be taken a lot more seriously, which would significantly improve my quality of life and might even help me unzoid. I somehow doubt that would actually help unzoid, like, at all.
I'm with you on that one.
The reason I say that person is because, like, if you were to magically get status and people like respected you and took you seriously more and all that, um, I don't know how easy it would be to keep yourself in that position where you to not fundamentally change the way you are, right? Or if you attained it yourself, you probably did so through masking and not saying everything you're actually feeling and thinking about the world and things you're doing. So yeah, like,
Which is very easy to assume because of what you just said, how much you hate it normally.
yeah. So
there's no way you're going to be able to get status if you hate it.
That, and if you got it magically, keeping it, you'll probably lose it very, very quickly, because unfortunately, the next question would be, it's like, why are they respecting you? Why are they taking you seriously? Is it just because you have, and if it's just because, like, let's just say you have a lot of money, say you won the lottery and you just, like, you're a multi-millionaire, they're gonna just deal with your idiosyncratic behavior and stuff only because they're hoping they can get in on some of that money. So then you end up with a different situation, right? You end up with this
kind of like
illusion.
the phenomenon. It's the phenomenon where there's a lot of mentally ill attractive people.
Yeah.
Because their mental illness is being put up with because people just generally are attracted to their attractiveness.
Oh yeah, they kind of put up with more negative behaviors. And things like that. I mean, look, like a good example is like, guys like Kanye West or whatever. Like, they have money, they had status. That status has dropped a bit, but so people will put up with like the stupid shit that he says and the nonsense that comes out of his mouth sometimes and they'll excuse it and they'll run apologetics for it because of their influence in a certain field or money or so on and so forth. So I think you would run into a new problem if you suddenly had a status. The only way somebody can magically have status that I can imagine is like the easiest way would be, you win the lottery and you automatically go up in status the moment you have millions of dollars, like in people's eyes. So I don't know. I don't know that would unzoid you. If anything, it might zoid you out more. Anyway, continuing. Unfortunately, I can't change the autistic traits that prevent me from gaining status. At best, I can compensate for them with other traits, but at the end of the day, I'm always going to have traits that people see as making me less than. If I didn't have those traits, I wouldn't be me. So I could not gain anything from higher status without being a completely different person, and that would be a loss. Yes, exactly. Another interesting thing, just to self-reflect, that I think is important. Remember, you might think, oh, well, people will judge me or see me less than because of the way I am or whatever. One of the traps you gotta avoid falling into is seeing those people as less than from your perspective, because that's actually not very useful at all. And it's just going to build up a lot of your resentment. So in other words, it's like, oh, these people that, care about hierarchies and status, they think I'm less than them. Like that, like getting really angry instead of just kind of wondering, like, or you can be somber about it. It's a sad thing, but getting like, thinking they're stupid for caring about this. I'm smart for not, that's like you're just doing the same thing, but theirs is coming from ignorance. Yours is coming from from resentment. And yeah, I've fallen into that trap in the past, and I understand it, but it's just something to keep track of. I'm not saying this person is doing that, but just you know what I mean. Like, it's like hate the game, not the player, right? That's what they always say, hate the player, not the game. It's like, no, hate the game, not the player. Aspects of the game, right? There's aspects of that status game that are actually okay and motivating, right? Like, when stuff is based on like things like what is it? Like shown behavior, shown competency, I guess a meritocratic situation like that. But the problem is the meritocracy we exist under is donkey shit. So, being like, that's why meritocracy makes me laugh. When people say, oh, well, there's, meritocracy is the way a society should be built. It's like, yeah, who's deciding Oh, the majority. Oh, great. That's awesome. That's one set of rules I'll never understand and wish if I had a genie wish I would wish away is um, big number mean uh, more significant. Like it drives me crazy. Um, that's why I'm not really into like I don't think I'm not gonna get into that anyway. Yeah, this is why I have to be careful not to develop a superiority complex. Yeah, no, it's bad because it's cope. It turns into like a weird cope, right? Where like, um, there is a lot of unfairness and there's a lot of shit and there's a lot of wrong reasons for why neurodivergent people, schizoids as well, get the shit end of the stick. But building up a resentment that turns into like a weird delusional superiority complex is like is so super unhealthy. It's gonna be no bueno, no bueno. It's gonna eat you up. It's gonna mess your shit up pretty bad. Let's see here. I'm an Arzoid, and I have always been concerned with status, least of all because the rest of my family are successful and I'm a loser. I am supposed to just ignore that reality. I don't know what you have to do. I mean, if you care that they're higher status than you, then that's on you. Like, I guess you care about status, and it might be because of trauma. I don't know, but like, overcoming them or being better than them in a variety of things. Um, I don't know. I don't understand that. Like, if my
I understand that. There is a good portion of my life, and this is coming from someone whose father has clear narcissistic adaptations, as well as my brother, who follows a lot of suit from my father.
yeah.
I have that kind of background,
Mm-hmm.
and I was raised up as the golden child that had a lot of expectations put on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, from my perspective, that's just the path I understood and was taught.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a long time, there was a lot of difficulty in managing my neurodivergent capability, or what's the word? Blockades, just difficulties,
Mm-hmm.
as well as these
Barriers. Yeah.
expectations that I only understood how to navigate. So I had started tying some of my self-worth with, for example, some of the games I was playing, my
Mm-hmm.
ability and my competency to play some of these games at ridiculously high skill levels.
Mm-hmm.
But it always occurred to me that no matter how many games I won, it wasn't solving the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was no eventual game where I win. There
Yeah.
was always inherently the status game is flawed. By playing the game, you
Yeah.
are set to lose. That's the whole point. That's how I saw it.
Oh, okay, that's a fair perspective. When the rest of your family looks down on you, that is very stressful and keeps me awake at night. Um, I I would relate to if the rest of the family is mistreating me. Um, but that would be like a different kind of frustration or anger. Because like I guess in my case when I was being told that I wasn't meeting expectations or something, my response was more of a well I don't give a shit kind of response about your expectations because your expectations are ass. And obviously like that didn't work out great, but I also didn't really care that much about improving my relationship between myself and people that I fundamentally don't understand or care about what they care about. Because blood's never been enough for me. Like when it comes to that, like when it came to like parents and stuff, blood means nothing to me. It's about acted behavior. And so if their way of being is like I consider it awful, and they're awful to me, why would I care? Yeah.
For those that objectively care about status for the inherent aspect of status, I have no idea how to like grasp that concept. But when it comes to being kept up at night because of people's perceptions of you.
Mhm.
I understand that from the perspective of internalizing a bad object
Mhm.
foundation, whereas that is what you inherit into the foundation, right? It's
Mhm.
you understand that you are inherently flawed as a bad object, but you don't know how to explain that except with this narrative that you're given by your family, which in this case it was status. So that's just how you frame it because that's just the way you were taught how to frame things.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not necessarily the status that was for. Well, I mean, I'm speaking from personal experience.
Mhm.
It's not that I cared about status. It's that I cared about being. It's that I perceive myself as a bad object.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think my experience is that I perceived both myself and everyone else around me as bad objects. So, like everything was a bad object. Every person, including myself, was a bad object in my mind for a long time, and it was just kind of like, well, then who cares? Who cares
I was
about
far
any
more
of that?
biased by internalizing that on myself.
No, yeah, like because like I could see that if you just make it about you, like how bad you are in comparison, because you're going off of what information is available and what like you know what it takes to be good object. So you're not achieving said thing, so thus you are bad object. Um, I think that could definitely think, but I think my issue is that like I saw like so many bad objects or whatever like just growing up that I don't think I cared about being perceived as one. At some point I didn't care about being perceived as a bad object by other people. If anything, I think I enjoyed it because then that meant they left me alone, or that meant that I expectations were put on me that I didn't want because everyone just expected me not to give a shit. Um, yeah, it's not absolute status. It's relative status with respect to your closest family members. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. That one, I wish I've been trying to grasp it a little bit. Like I understand it, like because there's like a certain built-in. There's some built-in mechanisms within the human mind or the human brain about like really like caring about how you are perceived within your clan of like genetically connected people in your life, but I guess maybe that never clicked in my brain or something. So I don't know. I don't know why it never clicked. And so I just didn't like care. Um, I cared more about the inconveniences it would cause were I to go too low in status within my family unit. Then I would be like, fuck, like, well, I can't have my mom and dad completely hate me because otherwise there will be consequences. For me, it's TC Baker. For me, it's definitely the comparison with other people that is distressing, and not the status inherently. Comparing what exactly? Like, compared how? I think I would get like triggered by misperceptions about me, right? So assumed negative traits that I did not possess. That shit was like caused me damage for sure. Um, but I'm trying to figure out what everyone. For example, seeing other people be able to achieve things or being believed or taken seriously, whereas I am not. It just feels incredibly unfair and frustrating that I can't do the same things. Oh, okay. So meaning like because of the way you are, you cannot be taken. You won't be taken seriously, and you won't be given the responsibilities and things or the access to things that you wish to have. I could see that, yeah, but I'm assuming that means that it's not because like they have status and you don't, and that's what making it like I'm guessing it doesn't mean like you see them and they're regarded as more important and so on, and so thus just inherently that's like something you resent that you can't be as important and special. I doubt that's what you mean. Everyone el- if everyone else had the same disadvantage, it would not bother me. Okay, yeah, yeah, I get that. No, for
It
sure.
would bother me only because the only thing that mattered to me was how objectively like good I was, right? If everybody was awful, it wouldn't matter as long as relative if I am like at a
Is it
standard
a
that I want.
competency thing with you? Like you want to be more competent than the average person at stuff?
No. It's not more than the average person. It's I want to be competent, and I don't know how to measure that accurately. So when I was younger, I would measure that against other people because that's the only framework I had.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And now that I've come into more knowledge and wisdom, that it's a lot easier to differentiate that from simple ego.
MPM. Yeah, I was so happy during the pandemic. I had a reason to stay home and not work, and most importantly, not be judged for not working. Yeah, yeah. I mean, see, yeah, I was just like you're describing that the lack of judgment for you not working is like what was most maybe was it the consequences of what that would like entail, like people like causing you problems and bugging you and bitching about you, like is that the problem, or is it if they kept their mouth shut about their how they look down on you, right, and they didn't make it obvious and they just kept their mouth shut, would you care? That's what I'm curious about. If they didn't get in your way or cause you problems because of it, like would you still care? That'd be interesting to know. Um, I think. Yeah. Oh, speaking of COVID, just watch out because I saw a few news articles and everything about another super cool breakout of something that's flooding the hospitals in China right now. So good times. That was like 2 days ago. So yep. Read a India.com, I think, or India News something.com article and a few American ones. I try to keep my news sources, what's the word, diversified, metropolitan, is it metropolitan? Doesn't matter, I'm aware enough to tell how other people are judging
Ice
me.
cream?
Ice cream, no, metropolitan ice cream, yes. Yeah, bird flu, yeah, no, it's just like another one. They're saying, oh yeah, I think it's the same. I think it's not bird flu, it's the same strain as like or close to the like what COVID was already, but like I guess they got some other shit going on. Oh no, it's like some kind of pneumonia related thing, but they got it's like mutated or something, and that's what they're saying. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it turns into COVID part two. Maybe not. Probably not. But yeah, it's just coming up. I'm probably more aware of other people's thoughts regarding me than most other Zoids. Oh no, see, NTN. I'm aware of other people's thoughts of me. I just don't care. I just wouldn't care. I care in the sense that I want to be respectful. I care in the sense that I want to be civil and ethical. Maybe when I was younger, I wasn't very ethical because I was just a dick, or would hurt people's feelings just so they wouldn't talk to me. Um, I don't want to be better than others, but I don't want to be worse. Being schizoid is an alienating experience, as it is not keeping up with other. As it is not keeping up with others make it worse. Well, it makes it worse, and yeah, that's the part I'm confused about. Like, what about it makes it worse? Is it because your like quality of life is lower? Like, okay, I could see that, right? But I don't know. Is it because like that's why I'm a little. I guess maybe I'm confused about what some of you mean. But why? Like, I could see why not being as competent as other people at certain things could definitely feel shitty. Like, I get that. But yeah, I'm just wondering. But I'd have to actually care about the thing. Does that make sense? Like, if somebody's better than me at something, that I just want to. That just kind of that usually inspires me to want to do better if I care about the thing. If I don't actually care about the thing that the other person's better at than me, I don't give a shit. Why would I care? I don't. That's the part I don't get. Like, let's just say like I don't care about making a crazy amount of money, and I had like a sibling or my parents, like they had a lot of money and they were really successful businessmen, right? And then I decide, oh, I just want enough money to live a decent life, quietly. I don't want fast cars. I don't want these things that they worked so hard to get. I don't give a shit about them. So I'm not gonna try to mimic their goal since it doesn't apply. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like I don't get that. I don't get like achieving something to get rewards that I don't care about. Let me see here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, Vlad, I'm happy to just not be judged. I just want to be ignored, but my narcissistic side is strong. A negative narcissism where I can't stand being thought of as bad by other people. I can't stand thought as bad because it's very ego dystonic for me. I just genuinely don't want to harm anyone. If someone thought I was bad because I did something that I think is morally right, though, that wouldn't bother me. So I don't know. It's the same thing. Oh yeah, okay. Like, I, trying to see. Okay, like, why do I not do things that would make me bad? Because like I have my own set of ethics and code of ethics and morals, and that's kind of all I like. If I cross those lines, then I would consider myself a worse object or a worse person, a bad person. But maybe it's because I just rely so little on being influenced by other people's descriptions of how their ethics or morality should apply to me and how I should internalize their ethical and moral framework or their priorities. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think that, like, I'm trying to get into the headspace of when I was like, 21, 22. Like, how did I approach that stuff? Like, if somebody said, you're a really bad person, I would look inside and I go, like, okay, I would think about, I would ask why, and then they would tell me, and then those things would either be a combination of misunderstandings, oftentimes on their part, or assumptions they make about my behavior. I would actually like think about, like, am I a bad person? Let me check my my inventory of what I've done and how I said it. If I was being a bad person at the time and then realized later I was being a bad person, then I would apologize, or I would regret that decision and then grow from it, I guess, or something. I don't know, because I've been called all kinds of shit, like, by people because of, like, something I say or a piece of context that I want about something they're saying, right? I remember getting yelled at by somebody when I lived in Arizona. There was like a roommate, and like they were trying to get me to like hang out or do something, to help them with something. They were asking me for some kind of favor. But in my mind, I was like, well, I don't ask them for favors, and in fact, they've been rude to me in the past. So when they asked me for something that was downstairs, they said, "Can you please?" I just said no, and then I was walking away, and they were like, they yelled at me about like, "Wow, don't you have any just human decency?" And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, what? Like, what does human decency have to do with me not doing you a favor when I don't ask you for favors and you've been rude to me in the past?
You should have just yelled back, "Appeal to emotion," and then they like say something else, and then you reply back with like some
I don't know.
other, like,
Just start saying
fallacy
like
you're doing.
fallacies. Like, no, that's
Yeah.
that's Reddit tier shit.
But
But
I would do that. That's funny.
That's because you're a Redditor that's not on Reddit.
No, that's not Reddit tier shit. Okay. I say that because I'm not trying to own them, but I'm also trying to like talk to them without expending that much energy. And it's easier to just say what it is.
MTN, what you're saying just tells me your identity disturbanceoidism is more mature than mine. I'm still 4-year-old in my 40-year-old body. Oh, that's fair. Like, that's fair. Like, cause
a lot of disordered personalities are like that, so don't feel like
no. I've made strides, man. But you know what? Like, it's this thing. Like, I've been wanting to sort of talk about it, about like, oh,
just so you know, when you bounce your leg like that,
yeah,
it is very audible through the stream.
Fuck. Okay, let me sit back. If you don't look for status and success in life, people look down on you, and you also do not get anywhere in life. That is correct. So then you
is it? how correct is that? Because I feel like there's a lot of room for
No,
deliberation.
yeah. There is room. It depends on how high you want it. Like, if you want like all the resources for your like whatever your experiments or something, then yeah, you're gonna have to fucking you're gonna have to suck a lot of dick on the way up, like
Well, what
in mask and
exactly are
everything.
schizoids like wanting, right?
Yeah, that's a problem. If they
Because
don't
if
even
it's
know
just
what they
basic
want.
life decency, then you're. I argue that
Yeah,
they're sorely
no.
misguided if they think they need
Yeah,
status
you don't really
for
have to
that.
actively seek status. You can actually just be like a respectful person that has a decent morality or ethics, and you'll probably climb enough through that sincerity to like at least kind of get through life. Oh, of course, you'd have to like
Am I
hide a
just
bunch of
young and
shit.
naive and lucky or something?
No,
Because
I think you're lucky. You were actually quite lucky.
when I hear climb, I'm just like, I don't know what climbing means, and I'm
Climbing
like
means
doing
like
fine.
if you're in a job and you need the better job because you have responsibilities or you have goals you want to attain, even if you don't give a shit about the job, it means like like ingratiating yourself with the people above you and around you, so that so that the people around you, if you get the bigger pay or the higher position or what they're happy about it because they like you, and then the person pulling you up to that higher paying position is like, I like this person, so then it gives you more job security and things like that. Like, it sucks, man.
Because like that works in theory for a lot of concepts that I'm aware of,
Hmm.
but when I apply it to any jobs that I immediately know, like my father's business, the last two jobs I worked,
Hmm.
or a friend's business, not the one they own, but the one that they're a part of, and I think this isn't directly applicable because I'm not thinking office jobs. I'm thinking very practical trades work, or like in the case of me, I was in fast food in a warehouse job. Right. So is that only applicable in office settings? Because there's a lot of not office jobs.
No, it's not. It's applicable in like even the low, quote unquote, lowliest of positions, and trust me, I've had lowly positions in life. No, it matters everywhere. Uh, but it just depends. Like, it depends. Honestly, it has to do with how much upward mobility the job you have has. Right? Like, if it's a job
Well,
where,
the last two I had none, so there was no.
yeah, it's just like the job, and then there's really nothing that would make you stand out so much that it would, like, I don't know, they would give you like a big ol' raise or give you like a higher
No, it was
managerial
no
position.
secret. Nobody got bonuses nor raises
Yeah,
when
well, that's
you left
probably
the
why
job.
you were you're not that motivated. Even if they were available, I don't know if that you would have been that motivated, to be honest.
For more money, yes,
Yeah, okay, then there
I
you
would
go.
have.
Then you should have got a
Yeah,
job where
absolutely.
the upward mobility is available. You got a bad job for someone like you.
No, I got a great job.
Oh no, I'm saying it's bad only because if you wanted more money, or money wasn't like that wasn't the place to get more money.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Um,
Yeah.
so let me see here. Yeah, I like more money, and only because I hate money. Um, so it's weird, right? Isn't that what you said? Something like that, Shadow. I don't know. But point is, yeah, more money means
No,
more resources, means I get left alone more. I have less troubles in my life, and I can focus
you
on the
like
things I
more
care
money
about.
because you hate money.
Well, no, that was just kind of a joke. But no, I actually detest money. But when I get
No,
more
you
money,
like it. You just said you like it.
okay. So no, I detest money and what it represents symbolically. I don't detest that it allows me to have less problems, or allows me to focus on more things I actually give a shit about. And one of those things I give a shit about the most is not money.
I like money in a conceptual sense, and I dislike what it offers me. I just like to hoard paper. I'm
Oh,
just
you like
really a
just
big fan of,
pieces of paper? I have more
yeah, just
papers.
I'm just a real big fan of green paper,
Green
with
paper.
faces on it.
I want
Yeah,
more money because I like the color green. That's awesome.
I just like the funny faces.
Funny faces on the papers. Also, the older you get, the more sensitive to opinions of others you become.
No,
No, I've gotten like
I feel like
less.
every person I've ever heard that from says the exact opposite, actually.
People are promoting based on politics and relationships, not performance. That's often, yeah. I disagree that not performance. I would say performance like is like a third place. Like because like yeah, you have to keep up like a certain amount of performance, but just performance alone, unless it's like a very performance focused field, then yeah, performance alone isn't going to cut it. Like I guess a good example where you can be like an absolute douchebag, but since your performance is like crazy good, you'll go up in status would be something like I don't know, like the medical, a lot of medical community stuff, as surgeons especially, like they don't, it would just wouldn't like, you know, you don't lose people, you fucking make shit happen that other people can't make happen, so on and so forth. And even if like you're not like 100% badass socially, um, people are still gonna just look up to you more. That's why like somebody can be a surgeon and be an asshole to everyone, and then you know they get the best positions because they're just competent and they're not losing lives and they're doing the really difficult shit with ease.
Also, one can argue there usually is an ego associated with competency, so it is normalized.
A lot of assholes in the medical profession. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of assholes in any profession that is considered like really socially high status of any kind. So, because then you're gonna have. I'm not saying obviously there's like you know people that are surgeons that legitimately love their specific work and legitimately love saving lives and like obviously, but there's also people that become surgeons because they're intelligent, competent, and it pays money. And when you say you're a surgeon, everyone gets all wet. So,
Because the value they add to society.
well, kind of, sort of. It's that, and it's just certain positions like lawyer. Lawyer is like a big one. Like
Oh, well, that one's purely just for the money, not for the value they add.
no,
These-
no. Well, I mean,
many,
yeah. Well,
many people argue they detract from society.
yeah, they argue that, but they're a necessary thing if they were actually to be doing the job they're supposed to.
Well, we're
for
talking
the
about
reasons
public
they're supposed
opinion,
to.
right? So the
Yeah.
reason why people might get quote unquote wet for a lawyer is because of the money they make.
An interesting aspect is that Zoids often don't naturally negotiate emotionally and withdraw instead, and that wanting people to look up to them avoids the situation and protects themselves. Yeah, yeah. I don't want people to look up to me. That's gross. Like, the only reason, like for example, this stuff that I do where I talk and I advocate for the Zoid stuff, whatever. Like, yeah, I want to be perceived as like kind of competent at what it is I'm intending to do. But there isn't really a lot of comparison because there's how many people are doing this type of discussion and content when it
It
comes
means
to
you're the
Zoids.
best. Just
I don't
by
know if I'm the
objective.
best at all, but
Well, I mean, because there's not any other metrics.
no,
to
yeah, but
gauge
there
it
are other
so
people,
effectively.
and they're much better at me in certain other categories. Like one of the best examples is Schizoid Vision. She's way better at organizing shit and you know putting information together and
What are
using.
you doing? You're advertising for the competition.
I don't care. And so, you know, they're able to. They have the patience and everything to go back through the books and throw quotes on the screen, and do like a whole, you know, presentation type deal. Yeah, I'm not good at that. Plumbers give more value to society than any surgeons. It's all based around how much you make. Sorry, pal. Plumbers make
No,
a
don't
lot
even
of
talk
money.
about- Don't even talk about plumbers. I live in a state where there's so many corrupt plumbers.
Oh
God, I've
no,
met
but
some people that-
plumbers make like good money. Like
Oh yeah, I know. My father's one.
yeah, there you go. Plumbers make good money. Maybe not as much as surgeons, but there's a lot of surgeons out there that don't make that good money depending on where they work. But usually, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know because, like, I don't think you would impress somebody by saying, oh, I'm a, well, maybe nowadays you could. In the past, though, if you said something like I'm a computer engineer, like, you know, years ago, somebody would be like, wow, okay, nerd, even if you're making money. Because then if you know, they had the option of somebody that wasn't a computer engineer and was a surgeon or a lawyer or you know something of that kind. Um, it's just certain like just career paths just have like a weird value um, that get
I wonder if
placed
that
upon them.
has
I don't know if
anything
it's
to do with.
artificial or.
I wonder if that. I mean, there. I wonder if that has to do with, for example, certain media,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
TV shows, and maybe back in
How
the
they
day,
depict those careers.
just the professional aura
Mm.
of, say, journalists or just establishments in general.
Well, I
And
mean,
that it hasn't carried over because there's no younger sense of faith in the same institutions as it was
yeah,
back
no, yeah,
then.
for sure. And plus, there's different priorities now, right? Like, there's something I constantly hear about, among the youth or whatever. Even when I was going to college, because I was still older than most of the people there when I was going. There's always a lot of talk about like, oh, I should have, or like, oh, why'd you get into this field? Oh, because it's the one people are seeking and it makes money. It's like, oh, that's reasonable. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. Like I never followed up with like, oh, what are you going to do with that money? I think that's like probably the most important part about somebody that is like a grinding to make money is asking them why do you want to make so much money? I think that's more
No,
important.
because then they look at you funny, like, why the fuck are you asking me that?
And that's not true
Is
because
that
well, if they
obvious?
look at you funny, if they want money for the sake of status and having more money means more status, then I'm already not interested in talking to them. But they might have like a good reason for wanting to make more money. Like let's just say you're going into like a service field or something and you want to make a lot of money so that you can like I don't know start your own practice or something if it's you're a doctor. You're like, well, I need to make a lot of money to start my own practice so that I can you know, help people in my community or whatever in the city I grew up in. Like those are noble reasons, in my opinion, to want to make more money. Um, so I'm okay with those kinds of reasons. But just money for status, I'm not a fan. Mainly because it's not just a status seeking. It's because you're gaining you're working hard to get status within a already like incredibly broken system. And you're just kind of ignoring the fact that it's broken for the sake of how good it makes you feel for everyone to think you have the biggest dick in the room. I can't
I
really respect
find
that.
the idea of status to be interesting from kind of like a daydreaming idea because I've always found the idea of high society
Mm.
interesting because it's curious. It's like there's an entire different world, so to speak,
Mhm.
that I haven't been a part of that I could be a part of, and it offers a lot of
How much have you
experiences
looked
to
into it?
explore.
Because like you might not want to be a part of it.
Well, I don't need to be a part of it. I just, how do I put it? Having the key to go and do as I please would be more enticing, right? And this
Yeah.
is mostly just idle daydreaming, right? So,
Well, yeah, having the key, but like being there's a difference between having the resources and being like it depends. If being if you have to be high status in society to attain certain resources, like just say like you wanted to become like I don't know a congressman or something. Yeah, you're gonna have to like do that. Like let's just say oh you really fucking care about like this country and its laws and this or that needs to change. Yeah, but
I mean,
um
this is coming from the person who's generally agreeable to most people he meets, right? So I don't
mm,
even think about the social aspect as much because
yeah
I don't really have a lot of social friction,
yeah
surprisingly enough. But just the idea of exploring
mm,
and just I've always enjoyed the concept of the city
mm,
and technology and stuff like that.
okay.
So it's high society in quotation marks.
Oh, okay, yeah, because when you said high society, it like threw me off because you can be high status and not be a part of high society. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Like you
I
could be
think I
like
conflated the two
yeah,
without really
yeah. That's what
realizing
that's what
why.
confused me. Status and access to resources are linked together, absolutely. But it also depends on like what kind of resources you're actually trying to access, right? And what your goals are. So um like being a part of high society would give you access to certain resources, if in fact those are in line with your goals. Um, The only way I'd be interested in high society was to use it as a means to understand the enemy better. Status and accent in the same PC.
Okay, cut yourself on that edge, will ya?
Well, it's not an edge. It's an honest thought on the matter. Let me see here. Yeah, I was watching I watched a actually really interesting video essay on like I guess high society food. What is it called? Molecular gastronomy or some shit. And it was like I think he gave me a
Is that
tism
the
vibe.
shit where they take their own DNA and
No. It has nothing to do with.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like a modern way, a modern trend of saying like classical food or classic food, like what used to be served like in like a really fancy restaurant like 50 years ago, is not what is served.
Why molecular?
I don't know the
What does that
I
have to
don't
do
I,
with anything?
I don't know. It's just called molecular gastronomy, and it's like the kind of like the biggest feel. Like if you're doing that, if you want to like get to the highest Michelin star fucking restaurants, you have to like get good at that shit. Um, but anyway, no, the guy that was talking about it in the video, he's kind of gave me some Tism vibes, and so I vibed with the video because it was just explaining how like a lot of these high society, highfalutin foods and dishes, it's just like smaller, shittier versions of good food that look pretty. So it's like, wow, they look really cool. They don't taste like any better than the conventional or the previous instantiation of that thing. It's just
No, they do taste better because there's an emotional connection.
yeah,
to it.
that's what he explains. So people want like expensive food because it's expensive, not because it tastes that much better. Like he was
But it also makes it taste better because, like, well, not necessarily.
I don't know if
better,
maybe it's like some kind of weird delusion happening there.
Like,
but,
even if say you have two foods and they taste equally the same,
yeah,
the food that is more high status, the experience of tasting it will be better, right? Because there's more going on.
he also explained, I can't remember the name of the channel. That sucks. I would say it. He was also explaining how like essentially like these kind of molecular gastronomy or high Michelin star level,
Stuck on that.
high Michelin star level type food is it's just min maxing like dishes, and
because it's an art.
well, no, it's let me explain. It like if you min max in a game, right? It's always easier to get to level 100. It's a lot harder to get all the gear that makes you the stronger level 100 player, right? And so
level 100 power rank 100, level 100 power rank 120.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Different.
So the point is that the amount of progress you make between when you first start a game or any activity, right, and you get to this kind of like mastery level, right? Let's just say you get to a mastery level.
I think there's a phrase you're looking for called a soft cap.
Okay. Yeah, soft cap, I guess. Yeah, but like a lot of professions associated with high society have a soft cap, right? And so you achieve that soft cap, but the amount of progress you made, like relative to where you started, is like astronomical. It's like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but then once you're in mastery, you're grinding and fighting tooth and nail. You're fighting harder than you ever did between level 1 and 100 just to get the gear that makes you like 10% stronger.
Yeah, you're fighting tooth and nail to be 2% stronger than
the number went up a little. Success. That means that if I fight a guy that's just as skilled as me at this game and we have the same I have one piece of gear that's better than his, I'm going to win the fight, if it's that kind of game. And there are a lot of games like that. I hate games like that. I fucking hate games like that. Unless it's like PvE, which I'm fine, but like PvP focused games where like you have to fucking just bust your ass playing it to like, get the right pauldrons or the good sword that'll let you beat everyone else because that guy has the 10% less stronger sword. That shit's dumb. Shit's stupid. And it's like a giant waste of time because you're like, you can you can have both schizo and autism have sensitive nerves. Yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, somebody earlier said, I don't want to miss it. Somebody earlier said, oh no, well, thing number one. Let me read the next thing because I only have two more, and if I don't read them, I'm just gonna fuck myself over. Hold on. I think I have two more. Do I?
I mean, you're welcome to do that anyway.
Oh shoot, I missed one. Let me read it. It says, "Dear Angst, seeking higher status in society? Oh yeah. Let me just trade in my sanity and dignity for a bigger pile of responsibility and existential dread. Sounds like a dream. As a towboat captain, I'm already the overlord of hauling other people's junk around. So I guess I'm living the metaphor for societal progress anyway. Rewards? Let's see. Maybe a slightly fancier title so people can nod politely before ignoring me. Or perhaps a gold-plated shovel for all the extra BS I'd have to dig through. Honestly, I'd rather log into a game where my hard work actually pays off with legendary loot instead of migraines. At least in games, I can mute the NPCs. In real life, they just keep talking and expecting me to care. Higher status? Hard pass. I'll stick to my hermit lifestyle. It's less drama, so I just float under the radar." Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it
Like the
myself.
metaphors.
I can relate to that. Oh, metaphors are funny. I like the gold-plated shovel to dig up all the extra BS that they have to deal with. Yeah, I mean that's kind of
It's a legendary artifact shovel that can dig up more BS than the last one.
in previous like jobs I've had, like when I did really good, and they tried to like give me like a plaque or like a certificate or they like wanted to like shower me with praise or something. Like the first question out of my mouth was like that meme. I don't know if you saw the one with the one we posted in the cloud one. You know, where's my money? Give me my money. Oh, it's funny, but yeah, it's just my thought is like, does it pay more? Am I getting a raise, boss? Am I getting some benefits? Oh no, it doesn't come with any. Oh, then I don't care. Who gives a shit? Like I would literally like get like a piece of paper that the company sent or a little plaque that the company sent that where I worked, and I would be given to it, and like it was just funny because like my coworkers or my boss would be like, "Oh, this is really great," you know, and they would hand it to me, and I'm like, "What is this?" And then they'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's just to show that you know you had the best sales during this time, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh, cool. Does it like come with a bonus or a gift card or something?" And they're like, "No, it's just to commemorate." And like before they even finish, I would just throw it in the trash.
Yeah, it was really annoying when I would
Like
get
I
these
literally would
papers at
throw it
my
in the
desk.
trash in front of them. I didn't care.
I would get these papers at my desk that weren't even directed towards me. It was directed towards the company I was working for.
Mhm.
And I'm one of the little busy worker bees in the warehouse, one of hundreds, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know what the goddamn company does. And they're congratulating themselves
Oh, I love
and
that.
making sure everybody at our workstations had the paper
So
that
good.
saw how that they were congratulating themselves. I'm like, why do we need this? Why do I care?
Because because a lot of people, when a company congratulates itself, they also say like you're a part of this, and so then it makes people feel like they're a part of something
Oh
bigger or
God, I
something.
just
I have
learned
no
that
idea.
concept.
Yeah, it's
I just
weird.
learned. I was just
Yeah.
learning about the concept of what is it? Closeted narcissism. The idea that someone would feel good because they intrinsically tie themselves to a concept like that was new to me.
Oh, like
Finding that in closet narcissism, that concept was not known to me until like just last week.
the most
That was
toxic form of
crazy.
that, like one of the most toxic forms of that, are people that actively seek marrying or getting married with someone of high status because they somehow like even if they're not producing something of value, their association by being married to that person increases their own sense of status, or sometimes it actually does increase their status significantly depending on who you married. And people that do that, and that's what they're doing it for, that's like super fucking crazy. Like,
As if I didn't think status was already bullshit because it seems fake. That would just how do
no, it
you
happens. That's
ignore
a
the
thing.
glaring problem that it's not real? Right?
Like,
Like that seems like it seems like totally delusional.
no, but it is
How
it is
can
real.
you
It is real because it has rewards. And other people will like validate it, right? So it's like, wow, it's like, oh, I'm so impressed. You're married to this person of high status. that automatically increases your status, even though you didn't produce anything that is of the same value, but your association socially to the high status person increases yours. Kind of like if you have like a really famous or high status father, like people will automatically treat you with more respect because your dad is this person.
But that to
Oh,
me
Vlad said
is
you're talking about
inherently
inverted
delusional.
narcissism. He said it's inverted narcissist.
Well, I was told by the book, which was by Eleanor
That's probably
Greenberg,
a
that
different, like
she
different terms.
clarified as closet narcissism.
Yeah,
So do
there's
with that what you will.
yeah, a lot of terms for a lot of different things.
But anyway, to me, I don't know how to understand that because that logically is delusion to me. Like I don't know how to describe that
Yeah,
other than it's delusional to believe that.
that's why that's something a narcissist would do, and it'd be some kind of like essentially like yeah, some kind of like
But
self delusion.
that's not exclusive to narcissism either.
No,
I
no, of
you know,
course
as
not.
you just
But
mentioned.
if it's about like me marrying this person, now I deserve respect and others should look up to me because I'm married to the person that others respect and looked up to. That would be like that's some personality
Yeah,
disorder level shit.
yeah, I would get.
Oh, I'm not trying to ignore you, but I just oh yeah, actually I was gonna get back to what you were gonna say, Minos. That's what I was gonna say, and then I got freaking lost. The thing about schizoid vision, I like their the sensory, yeah, the autism thing that you mentioned. I just want to make clear, I'm of the belief that autism and being schizo, like my ass, those are neurodivergences. Being schizoid's a personality disorder. Those are very different things. So you can be autistic and be schizoid, and you can be a ADHD schizo fuck like me and be schizoid. So yeah, through proxy, exactly. But yeah, you those two things can be the same. Like, so if you saw schizoid vision and they have sensory issues, and some of those sensory issues are like very closely related to autism, I'm of the belief that yeah, maybe, I'm not saying what they are. I can't claim anything. I don't know if they've ever said it, but I would say, oh well, there's probably some autistic traits, or maybe they do have some kind of autism or something, and they also developed this personality disorder, like because of, well, the consequences of being autistic are extreme. Like societally, the consequences suck. They're bad, and they can cause enough trauma and damage to get you all schizoid mode. Um, for a lot of reasons I'm not going to get back into because I constantly talk about it. So, yeah, weak central coherence explains autism and students. I'm getting okay. And just so you know, just to clarify, I didn't get back. Like, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but I didn't get back to you because you you said you were getting ignored. You complaining about getting ignored reminded me of the thing you said prior that I was interested in responding to. So, it's just that I think when I saw your question, it was like it would have required me to yap, and I think we were talking about something else at the time. Okay, so yeah, I just want to clarify that so people don't think that I was being swayed by no, me feeling bad. Definitely not that.
So important to make sure that you're not manipulatable
No, I have
through
to make that very
emotions.
clear to others. It's a paranoia thing for me, probably. I think what has in common with autism is a little mental rigidity. No, but that's what I mean, Jay Z. Like, I don't know. That's the part that I don't get. Like, even a lot of schizoids out there just be like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm autistic or schizoid. It's like, and even like with when it comes to like the way people are diagnosed, they often, yeah, they won't diagnose you. Like, it'd be like, oh, I talked to so many zoids that were like, oh, I was diagnosed autistic as a kid, and then I got re-diagnosed, and they said, oh, I'm not autistic, I have schizoid personality disorder. It's like, why are those things mutually exclusive? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Autism is not a
They're
personality disorder.
precisely they're precisely mutually exclusive, not because they should be mutually exclusive, but because it is inherently them admitting that they do not know how to differentiate the two.
Yeah, I
It is
mean
them
that's honestly,
admitting
yeah.
their incompetence. That is the point. That's why they do it.
You think
Point
so? That's
simple.
confusing.
Absolutely, I believe that without a doubt.
High five, schizo and ADHD
To me, it
personalities.
seems obvious.
It is like butter and bread. Wait, high five, schizo and ADHD, personality disorder and neurodivergent. It's like butter and bread. Yeah, because neurodivergent people are they're more likely to develop a personality disorder because of the amount of trauma they have to endure. Growing up with, like feeling like a goddamn alien, and depending how severe that was, or if there was significant amounts of mistreatment on the part of your peers or authority figures, or just the overall experience of being unintentionally neglected for most of your life, and misunderstood. Yeah, that's gonna fuck you up. I don't see why neurodivergent people wouldn't develop anxiety disorders, as well as depression disorders and things like that.
I don't mean to stay on this rabbit hole for too long, but I think this comes from a place, oftentimes from genuine good faith, where they do not know how to differentiate it enough to the point where they are doing the scientific method of, okay, we should probably do one, and then if it doesn't work, it truly, really doesn't work, then we do the other.
Yeah,
but if you're going into therapists that diagnose you as one or the other willy-nilly, then that's obviously a problem, and you have to understand how to differentiate good therapists from bad therapists.
I think also what happens too is that, like, if you're like thought to be autistic, then they're going to be like, oh, let's help you with all these social problems you have in the way that most autistic people would be helped. And when they're
Exactly,
like, wait, why
right?
aren't these things helping this person? I thought they were autistic. This should work. And then because it doesn't work, they're like, oh, well, let's look into this. It must be because maybe they're not autistic. And then they go, oh, look, schizoid personality disorder. It must be that. It's some kind of other problem. And so then,
I think
yeah,
it can come from a place of good faith, but then the problem then becomes nearly, maybe not nearly. I do think a majority, at very least, there is a majority of therapists that do not understand how to even approach schizoid personality disorder. So if one applies it to you, be very hesitant on their ability to correctly understand what it even means in the first place.
Yeah. Hold on. I got a few chats here I want to go over. So many of us have SCPD because of trauma of being autistic. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Most psychologists have GSM monkeys with the least psychoanalytic ability. I wouldn't say most, but there are a lot of them. I would say don't. I feel like sometimes psychiatrists are a bigger problem, because psychiatrists tend to like just literally like, what are the symptoms? These are the drugs. And if you attempt to like discuss behavioral stuff, there's like, oh, that's not what they know usually. That's not what they understand. They might understand it, or they're not as well versed in it. And so like it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Like they might have gone through the same schooling, but like they weren't as interested or cared about psychoanalysis type shit of any kind. Or they have just a lot less interest in it. They might be more of like a like the brain is biological, and emotion can be manipulated and controlled and by the correct chemicals and blah blah blah. Like seeing it's just math. Some people might be like that. Your beard is righteous. Thank you. It's a mess. I'm actually gonna get it trimmed down. My wifey trims it down, so I'll still keep it long. I like to keep the length, but it's just like crazy all over the place right now. Let's see here. I'm overly self-sufficient, so I don't have any deal with anybody. Yep. Autism is all about the nervous system, having a hard time differentiating between signal, noise, sensory issues, behavioral issues, or secondary. Yeah, and sort of. The reason I say that is the sensory issues are definitely I think there's like two aspects of it. It's the sensory stuff and how they perceive things. Cognition. And what they cognitive, like how their cognition affects their priorities, their emotions, everything else, what they're attached to, what they're not attached to. A lot of their personality is shaped by by the autism, because it shapes how they experience the world, and not just sensory wise.
And oftentimes it is biased to interpret things through sensory inputs.
Yeah.
They might be biased to explain things and perceive things in a way that they use metaphors like sensory inputs more often.
Yeah.
For example,
they're going to have high sensitivities to sensory, but they're also going to have unique psychological sensitivities.
But I do agree with the chatter that there definitely does need to be an emphasis on sensory, and
Oh, yeah.
the lack thereof, especially.
Yeah. That's why it's interesting. I think the schizo, people that would probably be slightly more schizotypal or whatever the fuck. I still, one of the things that grinds my gears, as they say, is how schizotypal is considered a personality disorder. That shit pisses me off so fucking much, and I'm not gonna get into that. See here. Lad, I agree with your autism take. Could you formulate hypothesis for why schizoid without
Before we
autism?
get down those rabbit holes,
That's a whole.
read some of your...
Yeah. Because I got to end this stream soon. That's a whole different. That's a good one. Maybe I'd make that a whole topic.
It is a good one because that delves into dissociation.
Oh god, there's so much. Yeah. Because like my deal is like, I'm less sensitive to sensory stuff. Like, enough to where I kind of feel numb or did. Let's see here. Next one, Dear Angst, if you're asking about fame and like mass media wanting to interview me, I absolutely wouldn't want that. I have instant dread of people coming out of the woodwork and digging at my past, mostly me being an asshole to my past coworkers or in some very old internet forums, and sharing it publicly and discussing it amongst themselves, and I just can't. Let me think about how I'd feel about that. If somebody dug up when I was an asshole to people on the internet or in real life in my 20s, I would just, I think I wouldn't just say, oh well, I was young. No, I'd probably say like, oh no, I'm matured since then. I made some really fucking stupid mistakes. I said some dumb shit that I would no longer say because I've matured.
Yeah, live and you learn.
Like that would be my response. Like they can talk about it all they want. I'm the only one that knows the truth about it. So, see here. I know some people who have no noticeable behavioral issues through adaptations, but they have sensory issues. Well, sensory issues alone don't make you autistic as well, because there are other conditions that could produce various types of sensory issues. So I don't know. I'm not saying that. No, maybe somebody that's diagnosed autistic, but they don't have like they're just like a normie in every other way, or whatever. Like they're just like neurotypical in every way, but the sensory issues. I haven't met anybody like that was diagnosed autistic.
I have a friend with a sister that's like,
yeah, because most autistic people I meet are both have the sensory issues. The sensory issues are always there, but the sensory issues and the behavioral or kind of differing cognition and approach to how they perceive their world around them. And then there's the autistic people that like their sensory issues and other issues are so bad that it basically makes them like nonverbal and shit like that.
And it really depends on what you mean by sensory issues, because there's a few different things we can go off of here that all mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, like technically speaking, being schizophrenic is a sensory issue. So
yeah,
you're like smelling and seeing things that aren't there. So I feel the pain of everyone, then later I feel nothing. I'm numb to emotions, exquisitely sensitive to pain and cringe of other women. Know how to mask it well. Yeah, as far as autism, oh yeah, 100%.
Numb to everything, but especially sensitive to negative, very specifically pain. Wow, that is so unique to the schizoid condition. No,
it's pretty common. He's not trying to make fun, but it's just like you're that situation. Like schizoids are sensitive.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm expressing my frustration with the concept.
Oh, okay.
Because I am also one of the people that deal with that.
Yeah, you're hella sensitive to certain things, Shadow. Well, it's interesting. I've also come across that the Zoids that are more autistic, they tend to be really, really sensitive to visceral things. And the schizos that are schizoid and are sensitive, they're sensitive to like more conceptual, abstract shit. But they're like they might get fucked up by like, reading too much about some idea or concept that about like life and how horribly devoid of meaning sometimes it has. Like that might fuck them up, but I feel like when I've talked to autistic people, like the stuff that fucks them up is like like physical violence or people in physical pain or seeing psychological pain right in front of them, or things like that. Like it's like it has to be present and more concrete.
But yeah, if they see psychological pain, they are most likely going to equate it with a type of physical pain,
Yeah,
which
and
is what they feel.
so there's like this kind of thing. Like I've met so many autistic zoids that are like, I can't watch like gratuitous violence, or I can't watch like stuff with a lot of flesh and organs, or
I am
stuff where
one of
people are
those.
being tortured, like where there's a scene where somebody's getting like their teeth pulled out and shit like that. Like they, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I've talked to a lot of zoids that are on the autistic side that like that's literally like where they're like, no, fuck that, right? But like,
I'm that one.
yeah. Expansive schizo are like ASPD, antisocial personality disorder. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Did you finish reading those other messages?
Oh, I have one more. Yeah, I gotta end this. Dear Angst, I see status as a resource, like money, that can help you get things and is somewhat necessary. Status means people like you or respect you enough that they are willing to do things for you, willing to give you opportunities, willing to give you benefit of the doubt in situation. If your status is too low, then you will become a scapegoat for people to blame, ostracize, exploit. So if you're stuck in the workplace or other social environment, you usually have to care about status, even though it can be a pain. You gain status mainly by making people feel good and doing favors for them. Sometimes this entails political things, like favoring one person at the expense of someone else who has less power over you, which can cause moral dilemmas. You can lose status easily by being a pushover. People won't like you if you bite them, but they won't respect you if you don't have teeth. Having social skills, charisma is also important. People's perception of you can change drastically depending on specific ways you phrase something, or if you stuttered or had a weird body language. Also, sometimes people will do a social posturing where they have to hold on my
Toddler attack. I bet a child cares not for the problems and woes of status.
yeah, it's just like yeah, kind of. Oh yeah, let me finish this thing. Sorry, my daughter. For anybody that's watched me before, you know, just when she goes to bed, she comes to say goodnight, but she just barges in. It's funny. Let's see here.
It barges in to disrupt all your status. And
Yeah, all my status has been destroyed.
Zero.
Yeah, I'm back at 0 every day. It can be exhausting sometimes, but it's a game that you have to play anytime you are dependent on others, just like money. Having very little status can... Oh, yeah, I've been saying status. Isn't it status when it comes to this? Isn't it different?
It's the same difference.
Can be crippling.
It's like
some
beer,
people,
though.
Yeah, tomato. See here. Some people try to maintain just enough status to get by smoothly. Now I'm saying status because I think it's right. Some people try hard to rise to the very top of social hierarchy. I think it's fine for each person to have different priorities, but personally, I just want to be comfortable. I hone my social skills, participate in social posturing, and indulge people's emotions and egos to the extent that I need to in order for others to not give me too many problems. Yep, that is what a lot of covert schizoids do. 100%. That's what I was doing for a long time too. But luckily I'm in a position right now where I don't have to do it as much. And sometimes because it's just a nice thing to do. I try not to cross the line into being unfair to anyone. Yeah, that's fine. That's your own like code of ethics and morals and shit like that. That's based, you know, to always have that. But there was something I came across before my daughter came in, and I lost.
Man, you're in zoom mode.
Well, I'm on a higher degree of Adderall now. Remember? So for my ADHD type action, Prestige 100. Yeah. Oh yeah. There was something they said about. So if you stuck in a workplace, social environment, you have to do about status, even if it can be a pain. You say it's being living going to. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So what's interesting is I want to almost like reword something. So I feel like status as like an idea, there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's always going to be some kind of hierarchy. It's always going to happen, right? But the conditions that have to be met and the priorities within that the framework of status as it exists in a lot of places in most of society today and even in the past is, in my opinion, fundamentally flawed and like fucked in so many ways, especially with like, you know, late stage capitalism, corporatism action going on. I'm issue made fucking shit extra horrible. So yeah, see, so if say like climbing status, right, was you become more competent in like a skill, and so then people raise your status because you know more and they can learn more from you, like that's way cooler. Like that's fine. Like you know what the best status is? The best status is
Poison?
yes.
Weekend?
Weekend. No. Uh no, the best way to attain status is to do so by not being your priority. Like if you attain status and you never cared about status, you just cared about the things you were passionate about, then that's fine. Like you didn't like actively seeking it and doing things with the intention and itself being the reward is what is just cancerous. To my experience, to other people's it's normal. Yeah, I get it, but it feels just horrible to me.
I don't know. I feel like the CIA looks for a lot of status seekers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I feel like they're able to use that talent pretty effectively.
They're a type of schizo who don't have effective empathy and usually have some idea which they are trying to bring to life no matter what. They usually kill more people than any other type of psycho. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, like that's like the super high grandiosity, almost like narcissistic schizo. Yeah, like that's the person that like, you know, literature, like their ideas got to a point where it's like, well, God is talking to me and God has given me he's giving me an open field day on doing whatever I want in order to achieve this divine goal or
What,
something.
like the cult leaders that say everybody has to die when they have no way out?
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
narcissism? Okay.
No, it's like the one like I've talked about it before in the past. I think like an example of what you're talking about there, Tepis, would be it would be like the leader of the Heaven's Gate cult, because he killed
Yeah,
him.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking of.
yeah, he killed himself before like the other people in his cult killed themselves. Like he went in the middle of it. No
Oh,
grandiosity, make the
not
world
the
the
one with
better
the new
place.
one.
Yeah, and I'm the chosen one to facilitate that. That definitely requires a certain level of grandiosity. Like you think that you're the chosen one, you are like the prophet, you are the bringer of the wrath.
Not always. It could be
I don't know.
desperation.
Maybe, but like yeah, the Heaven's Gate cult guy, yeah, like that's a real cult leader.
Whoa, what
Lenin,
do you mean by that, angst?
meaning like that's a
Whoa.
no, I've said it before. That's a cult.
Calling it
That's the
light,
type of
mate.
cult leader that on a weird abstract, I don't know, on a weird playing field, I can respect more than like a fucking the kind that like they don't go out with their cult. Like that's
Well,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
because they cared more about the idea than they
Or they
did
just be in
about
power. They
manipulating
like
other people.
being in
Yeah.
power. They like the control it gave them. But I like I don't like them. They're still horrible people, but I can respect their what is it? Their grind. Oh, no open grandiosity. Oh, probably not. No, no. But as far as like yeah, so the Heaven's Gate guy, like any cult leader that's like I'm gonna take myself out in the name of the cult, before like he claims that everyone else should is a cult leader I will never get behind, but I can respect that at least they were sincere. How about that? I respect the sincerity of their horribleness or their horrible decision. And they probably those are the ones that I think legitimately believe they were trying to make the world or a better place or save souls or what have you. Like I think those are like the real deal, true believers. I feel more pity for those types than hatred, because they must be having a lot of problems, and they must have gone through a lot of shit to develop that level of delusion about something. That guy was a sociopath? Nah. He might have been like, he might have lacked certain kinds of empathy or whatever. He was definitely not a sociopath. Sociopath wouldn't have that much. Well, one is a sociopath would not be the one who takes himself out in the name of the cult before the rest of the cult members. I don't, and even if the reasons a sociopath to join a cult probably have very little to, they don't care not only about others' lives but also their own. No. I don't believe that. I don't believe that when it comes to like those sort of crazies or whatever. Those guys, I think if they're on the schizo side of things, they legitimately believe it. A sociopath would be the kind like or a psychopath cult leader would be kind of like a narcissist, like a whatever you want to call it, would be kind of like the guy from the Kool-Aid guy. You know, I'm bad with names. You know, where like they just like everyone kill yourself, and it's like they just like hang back, and then they get like arrested or something, or they like try to go on the run and eventually get apprehended or killed.
Technically, your logic doesn't completely work out because a sociopath that genuinely cares about their cause and believes they need to die would obviously do it. And they might not believe that everybody else needs to die, and if they don't, then why would they ask everybody to die? It's just impractical.
But would a sociopath be so emotionally connected to something of an abstract nature?
That's where it gets a little dicey. Yeah, that would be a better argument than the one you gave.
Yeah. Like, well, I know it's kind of like sociopaths are all about control. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like the Kool-Aid guy, God, what's his name? They literally drink the Kool-Aid. The term came from him. That guy was a sociopath. The Heaven's Gate guy was there is no reason to be angsty. The others is delusional, and because it wasn't like they were the Heaven's Gate cult wasn't like inherently violent to people, and did like all this violent shit. Like they literally like they were just, like he pulled in a bunch of weak like hurting desperate people into that cult through his like charisma and belief in what he was saying. Yeah, his riz, but his belief, like the sincerity of his work. You know who's a good example in like fiction of who I'm talking about? 100%. It's the if you know about Game of Thrones, it's the nobody asked you, shut up. It's the
I asked.
the leader of the cult in that story. Man, I'm so bad with terms. But the leader of that cult, that's like the Heaven's Gate guy. That's those kind of guys. Like true believers. Like they're willing to like martyr themselves for their cause. Yeah. Sociopaths do not believe in death? I don't know about that. I don't know about that one.
I feel like there's
Jim Jones,
too much of a generalization of what a sociopath is.
That's a lot of things you're adding to the pile. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of sociopaths that are very aware of what death is and that it's real.
I'm not too sure I agree with these definitions.
I don't think sociopaths, if you ask them, like, if they give you an honest answer about, like, will you die one day?
Because then that means I might be a sociopath because I have some...
Yeah, well, that would mean that everyone that believes in an afterlife is a sociopath. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I believe I have the eternal soul and I will live forever.
I mean, I haven't
Sociopath,
died
like,
yet, so I mean,
or not
just
sociopath, but it'd be
saying.
like, oh, that's a trait. That's a sociopathic trait to believe that death isn't final or real or something. Like, I don't think so. Maybe there's probably a lot of sociopaths that like are fully aware of it and they like the power over others, like the power of life and death, because of how real and powerful it is. Sociopathic grandiosity is about being invincible.
I mean, I can kind
I
of
could
see
see
how you
some,
piece things
yeah.
together.
Well, I mean, that would mean that, yeah, they're so competent in everything they do and say that they will never be taken out or destroyed by anyone or anything because everyone else is less competent than them at doing whatever it is that they do. To the point where it's delusional, and they would put themselves in very dangerous positions.
And because of
Um,
their lack of moral standards as compared to the normal populace, they generally get away with more things, which leads them to falsely believe that they have more power than usual.
yeah, the second season of Squid Games had a character like that, or Squid Game had an interesting character like that. That would, I think, fall under the sociopathic grandiosity type category for sure. That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't looked into sociopathic grandiosity much, but yeah, I mean, if somebody thinks they're invincible because they're just that special or that competent or something, yeah, that gets into
It's
weird
kind of like the
territory.
same way someone from a schizoid background would believe themselves to be maybe cursed or defective in some manner
Yeah,
because
they're
they
like
see a lot
blessed
of
or
evidence presenting it, unrealizing how contrived the evidence is.
hmm.
Same manner.
That's interesting. I got to look into that more. Link me if you're on this Discord server to any interesting articles. Check it out. Go into it further. All right, guys. Final poll. 17 votes. Do you seek status because you want it, or see it as something necessary like a resource? 12% said I want it. It feels good. Oh, well, let me end the poll. 35% said I don't want it, but it is necessary, and 53% out of the 17 votes said I don't want it and I don't seek it. There we go. And look, see, it doesn't show who said or chose what. That's what's cool about it.
I can't believe Withers isn't here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can believe it, but
Oh, God.
you know what I
He
mean.
would just hijack the whole fucking thing.
I mean, it would have been
Man, I'm kidding. I'm
maybe
kidding.
maybe it would have been interesting if
Yeah, it
we
might have
had
been.
some of these other perspectives.
I mean, based on what I know about them, I think that they're somewhere between the I want it and the it's necessary. I don't know where they're at. I don't know how good it actually feels when it comes to Withers.
I feel like if they look in the mirror and they put their two index fingers at the corners of their mouths and like pushed it
Oh
up,
God. Yeah.
they would
Okay.
be a perfect splitting image of the Joker.
What?
You
Okay.
know?
I don't know what that means. Is that a meme or something? That whole thing you said?
Yeah, it's seen from the movie.
No, I know it's a scene from the movie, but like Withers doing it, or is it something you could put anyone doing it would be as big?
I
Is that the
am
meme?
the words I'm talking about are for amusing myself. So I was
Okay.
amused. I don't know how to articulate amusement to
Yeah,
you.
because that shit sounded stupid. I don't understand.
I smiled.
Good.
I
I'm
thought it
glad. I'm
was
glad you
humorous.
enjoyed it. I have no clue
No,
what
you're
you're. What.
not. You don't care.
That's true. I mean,
Don't lie to
I
me,
don't know. Maybe I kind of care a little bit.
fucking liar.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for being here. Please, before everyone leaves, if you want to support my work and ideas or whatever, no, not even support, just you want to support my stupid ass, and so I can keep doing this kind of stuff and not. I'm like currently having a lot of super fun, financial fun because of work related stuff. But in any case, if you want to help out the channel and myself in any way, please join my Patreon. I also put the link to my Ko-Fi or Coffee account That's better. They take less money away from me. So if you're already on Patreon, honestly, just switch over to Coffee and get subscribed there for whatever amount you were doing on Patreon. Because I think it just gives me more. Because like they take a lot less out. If anything, I don't think they take anything out. Um, they just don't have like a lot of the features and bullshit that Patreon has. But the people that listen to me and support me on there, they don't give a fuck about. They don't want Patreon shit. So it's kind of pointless. Um, but yeah, that's it's a link at the bottom. A coffee account. You could do like one-time deals, or you can like just subscribe like you would on Patreon. And you know, I'll get more of whatever it is you're already giving me if you switch over to that. If you are giving me anything. If you're not and you can't afford it, don't do it. The way you could support the shit I do if you care about it and you're broke like me, would be to post links to my streams or wherever on the appropriate places, or recommend me or talk about me in the appropriate places. Um, all right. Thanks a lot. And as usual, when day is dark, always remember happy day. And now I wait like 2 seconds because I remember now. Could not